अशेषकाय प्रसृतान् अशेषान् औत्सुक्यमोहारदितान् च खान यो पूर्ववैद्याय नमोऽस्तु तस्मै. Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to continue with Snehavidhi Adhyaya. The Snehavidhi Adhyaya, it's second part. In the last class, we were discussing its beginning portions, that is introduction about Snehavidhi, then the types, indications of the Chadu Sneha, its indications, then those who are fit for Snehana and those who are not fit for Snehana. Extra topics we had discussed, and along with that some important topics we had discussed include Trivida Sneha Matra we had discussed. In this Hriswa Matra, Madhyama Matra and Uttama Matra. Hriswa Matra means administration of Sneha in lesser quantity. It is for the purpose of Brahmana. Then Madhyama Matra means it is in the moderate quantity. It is for the purpose of Shamana. And Uttama Matra means administration of Sneha in higher quantity or higher dose. It is for the purpose of Shodhana Chikitsa or prior to Shodhana Chikitsa. And again in Hriswa Matra, it is mentioned the matra, that is quantity or dose of Snehadravya which gets digested with 2 yama is Hriswa. There exists no like any measurements like this much ml is Hriswa Matra. It is not like that. It varies from person to person. So you can see which digests with 2 yama means that is the based on the digestive capacity of the individual. So person to person it varies. For some person the Hriswa Matra means it may be 10 ml, for another person it may be 15, and again those who are from having very less digestive capacity or Hinagni, for them it may be 5 ml. That's why that varies from person to person. So we cannot fix like this much quantity is Hriswa. Then for the purpose of Brahmana, Sneha should be, Hriswa Matra is for purpose of Brahmana Dharma. So for purpose of Brahmana, Sneha should be administered in lesser quantity along with Mamsarasa, Madhya, Ahara, etc. It means you can mix with these things, Mamsarasa, Ahara. So it is more palatable and more easy to administer the Hriswa Matra. And although the quantity is also very less, then it is beneficial for the Hriswa Matra Sneha is beneficial for Bala, that is children, Vriddha, that is old age, because these two people can't tolerate the effects. If you are consuming, if you are providing them in larger quantity, it will be difficult for them. So for Bala and Vriddha, always Hriswa Matra is beneficial. Then Pipasa, the one who suffers from excessive thirst. Sneha Dvit means one who is having aversion to the Sneha. Then Madhyashili, one who is habituated with alcohol consumption. Stri Nitya, those who are having the practice of having the practice of Maithuna or sexual intercourse. Then Sneha Nitya, regular intake of Sneha. Mandagni, those who are having the weak digestive fire. Then Sukhi, and individual with easy life, or always the person who resorts in a very comfortable Sukumar life. Such people, for that is called Sukhi. Then Klesha Bhiru, one who cannot withstand the strain or the stress. Because whenever this Nehapan in the clinically, or if you are providing in the Shamana or Uttama Matra, it takes time for digestion, and he or she is not, they are not supposed to take food along with that. So that he may need to fasting and so many other troubles which may be arising to the patients. The person who cannot withstand means for them this is the best one. And Mrutu Koshta means an individual with Mrutu Koshta, already we had discussed. Then Alpadosha means lesser vitiation of dosha, and in Krisha individual during the Ushmakala, Grishma Rutu. Then Madhyama Matra means quantity of Snehadravya which gets digested with 4 yama, that is 12 hours approximately, is Madhyama. The purpose of the Shamana, Snehapan, is done without food intake when the individual experiences hunger. So immediately after the arousal of the hunger, this should be given. Then Uttama Matra means Matra, that is quantity or dose of Snehadravya which gets digested with 8 yama, that is full day, whole day, or day and night it is needed. 8 yama is Uttama. It is for the purpose of Shodhana. This Acha Snehavana. Acha Snehavana, I already mentioned, it is Sneha as such. Is done immediately after digestion of the food consumed in the previous day. So we are not waiting for the hunger, arousal of hunger. Immediately after the digestion of the previously consumed day, this Uttama Matra is given. And Snehavana should be always started in Hrisyasi Matra. I have repeated this once again because of the importance of the Matra of Snehavana in theoretically as well as clinically. Then next is about effect of Sneha Prayoga in Sharira with respect to Ahara Sevana. So whether you are consuming the Sneha before food or along with food or after food. These three are having different impacts on our body. That is what Acharya discusses here. The sloka is like this: Prak madhyottara bhaktaso adho madhyodha dehajan vyadinchaye balam kuryat ankanamcha yathakramam. This is Acharya says, depending on ahara sevana, you can classify the sneha prayoga into three. That is, three types of sneha prayoga exist: Pragbhakta sneha prayoga, Madhyabhakta sneha prayoga, and Uttarabhakta sneha prayoga. This Pragbhakta sneha prayoga means administration of sneha dravya before the food intake, that is, before the consumption of the food or before the meal. Madhyabhakta sneha prayoga means administration of sneha dravya during or in the middle of food intake, and Uttarabhakta sneha prayoga means administration of sneha dravya after food intake. After consuming the meals, the sneha is given. So based on that, our body is having its effects are different. So Pragbhakta sneha prayoga, its prayojana is beneficial for adhodeha, that is lower extremities, and strengthens the organs, that is anka, and cures vyadhi pertaining to the adhodeha, that is the lower portions of our body. Then Madhyabhakta, that is administration of sneha in between the food or meals. It means beneficial. It is beneficial for Madhya Deha, that is mid part of the body, strengthens the organs and cures the vyadhis, that is diseases pertaining to the Madhya Deha, middle part of the body, middle region of the body. And Uttara Bhakta, beneficial. Uttara Bhakta means administration of sneha after having the meals, if the person is consuming, that is Uttara Bhakta, or application of sneha dravya after consumption of the food, that is Uttara Bhakta. It is beneficial for Urdhva Deha, that is upper part of the body, and strengthens the Anka, that is organs, and cures Vyadhi pertaining to the Urdhva Deha. That is why in you can see in Apabahu etc. conditions, that is in the neck region. So there Uttara Bhakta Sneha Prayoga is advised, because in the upper part of the body it should get benefited because of the same reason. And after that, Acharya highlights about the utility of Ushna Jala, that is warm water during Sneha Prayoga. वायुष्णमच्चे अनुबुधे स्नेहे तत्सुखभक्तये आस्योबलेव शुद्धेश्च तौरारिष्करेण तु जीर्णाजीर्णविशङ्गायां पुनः उष्णोदकं पिबेत् तेन उद्गारविशुद्धिः स्यात् ततश्च लघुता रुचिः. So this is about utility of Ushnodaka, that is warm water during Sneha Prayoga. That is a simple logic. Even you can observe, whenever we are consuming oily products or oily food, it will be digested easily whenever you are taking warm water or slightly warm water, or preferably warm water is always beneficial for the digestion of the oily substances. And instead of that, if you are taking shita, it may lead to stambhana and the digestion may be impaired. So the same reason, you can easily imagine, you suppose there is a bottle of oil is there and the oil has finished, and for washing the purpose, if you are just rinsing with the cold water, what may be the result? You can check it. It will be, the oil will be still sticky to the surface, internal surfaces. Instead of that, if you are taking some warm water to the same bottle and if you are rinsing, the maximum quantity of the oil will be coming out. Or if you are just taking an oil bath, oil after the oil massage. So if you are simply pouring some cold water, what happens? It will be, the oil will be there more. Instead of that, if you are pouring some warm water, what happens? That oil or the stickiness will get reduced. The same logic Acharya applies here for the Anupana of Ushna Jala during the Sneha Prayoga, which is very much important. And at the same time, he is telling exceptions also in case of Tuvaraka Taila and Arishkara Bhalladaka Taila. The description goes on like this. For easy digestion of Sneha Dravya, Ushna Jala has to be consumed after Sneha Prayoga, especially after Acha Snehapana. So clinically, if you are giving this Sneha to the patient, in Acha Snehapana or Madhyama Matra, if you are giving, so once after consuming the Sneha in the morning, there won't be any, he won't be having any other food till the complete digestion of the Sneha. So only we are providing is the warm water. Warm water will be provided to him and he can sip it whenever required, whenever it is thirst or whenever he is feeling the doubt of digestion of the Sneha, proper digestion of the Sneha, and again it removes the upalepa, that is the coating formed by the sneha dravya inside the oral cavity. You can imagine in the lumens, the sneha will be adhered. So the administration of the Ushnodaka is helpful in relieving that foam coating due to the sneha. Then consumption of the Ushnajala is prohibited after Tuvaraka and Arushkara Snehapana. Tuvaraka Taila if you are taking, or Bhallataka Taila if you are taking. After that, Ushnajala is prohibited. Instead of that, Sheetajala is advised. Except that in all sorts of Sneha, Ushnodaka is advised. Then Ushnajala is to be consumed frequently if one doubts about the proper digestion of the Sneha Dravya. Jirna Vishangaya Punyaha Ushnodakam Pipe. This is very important. So the person is not confirmed, because only after the digestion of the sneha he is supposed to do the rest of the things, or he can take even the light foods or whatever is there. That should be done only after the complete digestion. So if the patient is having the doubt, or sometimes the belching will be coming, which will be having the smell of the oil which is consumed, that's why whenever that doubt is there, he can take the Ushnajala. Jirna Vishangayam Punaha Ushnodadam Pibe. Ushnajala is to be consumed frequently if one doubts about proper digestion of the Sneha Dravya. And what is the benefit? It ensures Uggara Vishuddhi, that is belching free from smell of Sneha, Lekhuta and Ruchi. Tena Uggara Vishuddhisya Tadascha Lekhuta Ruchi. So if you are taking the Ushnodaka, it is helpful in attaining the Uggara Vishuddhi, means the belching. Because if you are taking the sneha, immediately after taking the sneha or further in the due course of digestion, the smell of the particular sneha will be appreciated by the patient. So, in order to get rid of that, this Ushnodaka Prayoga is helpful. And again, the patient feels lightness to the body and his taste will be, Ruchi will be enhanced after consuming Ushnodaka. Then, after that, Acharya describes about Pathyapatyas during the Sneha Prayoga. This is another important topic. This is having much relevance in Sneha Vidhi, as well as it is having the extended application in all sorts of therapeutic procedures which are advised in Ayurveda, because this is the patient must follow. The patient must follow this regimen. He says, Bhojyonyam Matraya Pasyam Shopiban Pitavanapi Dravošnam Anabhishyanti Jnatisnigdam Asankaram Ushnotagopacharya Brahmachari Kshapasheha Nyavegarodhi Vyayama Krodha Shoka Himatapan Pravatayana Yanadhva Bhashyatyasana Samstithihi Nija Attichobadhanaha Swapnya Dhuma Rajamsicha Yani Ahani Pibetani Tavandyanyanabhitajet Sarvakarma Swayam Prayo Vyadiksheeneshu Chakramaha Upacharastu Shamane Karya Sneha Viriktavada. So this Pathya Kalpana, you can see this Pathyapatyas in the form of Ahara as well as Vihara are both present in other therapeutic procedures like Vamana Virechana, etc. Also the patient is supposed to follow. So this is very much important. If possible, you can by heart the shloka as well. So the Pathya, a person who has already started or about to start Sneha Prayoga on the next day should consume Ahara only in the proper or the limited quantity, that is in the limited matra. This is applicable for the person who has already started, or if the next day, tomorrow if you are planning to start with this Snehana Karma or Snehapana, it should be followed. He should take the Ahara in lesser quantity. Then Ahara should be Drava and Ushna Pradhana. Dravoshnam means Drava means loose or liquid. More liquid quantity should be there, and it should be warm. Ushna Guna Pradhana. Then Ahara which produce Abhishinda should be avoided. Dravoshnam Anabhishyanti. Because Abhishinti Guna is not good, because it is somewhat similar to the Kabadosha and enhances the Kabadosha, and again the chances of Sneha Vyabhat etc. will be there. Because of the same, this Abhishinti Aharas should be are to be avoided. For example, Dadhi is a Ahara which is a classical example for Abhishinta, or in the present days we can correlate with the ice cream etc. These are Abhishinti Ahara. Then Ahara should not be too much snigdha if you are because already you are taking snehana or snehapana, you are undergoing snehapana. So if you are giving the patient too much snigdha ahara, it is not good. Then and again it will be hampering the digestion as well. Then avoid such meals which are combined with various apatya ahara dravyas. So always you should follow or you should resort to the healthy diet. You should not combine with other apatya ahara dravyas. Then one has to make use of Ushnotaka alone, both internally as well as externally. Internal application of Ushnotaka and its importance we have already discussed. Again, in Dravadravya Vijnani Adhyaya, you study about the properties of Ushnotaka. Deepanam, Pajanam, Kandhyam, Lagushnam, Vasti Shodhanam, Hitma, penis, Divinam, Pajanam, Kandhyam, Lagushnam, Vasti Shodhanam. Hitma, Anila, Shula, Sadhishuddhi, Navajure, Kasama, Penisa, Shwasa, Parcha, Rushuja, Shasite. This was the, you can refer this same chapter. So these are the indications of Ushnotaka. So Ushnotaka is always advised internally, and here also you study about the importance of Ushnotaka Prayoga, and externally also for the washing purpose, for cleaning purpose, for any thing you have to, for bathing purpose, etc. Always the person should use Ushnotaka only. He should never touch even cold water. That is what the opinions of Vriddha Vaidyas. Then one should follow Brahmacharya, and he should ensure his proper sleep. Then in the night, that is also important, because Shapashaya means, the word Shapashaya means the person who got sound sleep in the night, or the person who is sleeping properly in the night. It means he should definitely avoid the day sleep. Then one has to avoid Vegadharana, Vyayama, Krodha, Shoka, Hima, Atapa, Pravata, Yana, Adhva, Bhashya, etc. Prolonged sitting also. So Vegadharana, because Vegadharana, Yoga Sarvevi Jayante, Vego Dhirana Dharane. Because in Vegadharana means both Vegadharana as well as Vega Utirana, both are already included in Roga Nitpadanyam Adhyayam. We had discussed, the Acharya told. All diseases, if any disease you take, there will be definitely the causative factor of Vegadharana will be there, or Udirana. Then Vyayama is not good, because the person's health is, or Sharira will be bit tender while consuming the Sneha. Krodha, Shoga, etc. Mansik Vigaras are not good. Hima, Atama, etc. Pravat, etc. are not good. Yana and traveling. In general, for all sorts of therapeutic, while doing this the treatments, this traveling is not good. Adhva, excessive walking, Bhashya, that is continuous speech, etc. are not good. Even prolonged sitting also. The person is not supposed to sit for a longer duration. It is also not good. One has to avoid using pillows which are too high or too low, because nowadays we can see the pillows are available with a dense one or thickly packed one, or even we are adding two or three pillows and using it to support our head. It is not good. Or even very thin pillow is also not good. That healthier one is there, it should be taken, that is in between either too much height or having too much low. Then exposing to the dhuma, that is smoke, and raja, both are prohibited. Then afterwards, Acharya discussed, these regimens are to be followed throughout the period of Snehapana and should be extended equal days after finishing Snehapana. Means every day from the day first, or even before the day, because before the commencement of the Snehaprayoga itself, these regimens are to be started, and during Snehapana it is to be followed. Suppose the Snehapana has taken for 5 days, then the another 5 days extended equal days after finishing Snehapana. That is, that much importance is there for following the Pathya. Then these regimens are applicable during other therapeutic procedures like Vamana, Virejana, etc. and also helpful for the individuals who got weak due to the ill effect of diseases. In Shamana Snehapana, one has to follow regimens instructed after Virejana. After Virejana, we will be discussing about the Peyadi Samsarjana Kram. So that is to be followed after Shamana Snehapana. Then duration of the different Snehapanas, that is what we are going to discuss. Trehamacham Mrudo Koshte, Krure Saptadijam Pibet, Sammek Snigdhe Sigdo, Atava Yavat Atas Satmi Bhavet Par. So, in case of Mrudukoshta individual, Snehana is to be performed for 3 consecutive days. That is generally speaking. These all are actually not fixed, but generally for the understanding of the Vaidya or a physician, these parameters are helpful. Sometimes based on the Prakriti, based on the Ritu, based on the Desha, etc. It may be varying. Generally, it is for the Mridu Koshta, Snehapana is to be performed for 3 consecutive days, and in Krura Koshta individual, Snehapana is to be performed for 7 consecutive days, because in his Koshta there is dominance of Vata Dosha, so this Ruksha, Lekhu, etc. gunas are more. So it is too much Sneha, or the duration will be extended in order to attain the Samyak Snigdha, the proper features of Snehana. And in Madhyama Koshta he has not mentioned. Generally, Snehabana has to be extended till the manifestation of Samyak Snigdha Lakshana, signs of proper oleation, that we will be discussing afterwards. In case of extension of Snehapana, after the manifestation of Samyak Snigdha Lakshana, Sneha becomes Satmya to the individual. So once after getting this Samyak Snigdha Lakshana, we have to stop Sneha Prayoga. Otherwise, what happens? Sneha becomes Satmya to the individual. Satmya means the person will be get adjusted or accustomed with the Sneha Prayoga. So it is of no use. And in Madhya Koshta, it is not mentioned, but commentator says in Madhyama Koshta individual, Snehapana may have to perform for 4 to 6 days, because it is the average. Because in Trahamacha, Snehapana, 3 days for Mridu Koshta and Saptadini, that is 7 days for Krura Koshta. So for the Madhyama Koshta, the days will be between the 3 to 7, that is we can take 4 to 6 days. So these are helpful if to determine the Koshta, as well as for Koshta Parisha, this person is having this particular Koshta. For that understanding, you can do by this method, or already you have understood, or you have made out the Koshta of the individual. Then these days will be helpful in tentatively determining the fixing the number of days of Sneha Prayoga. Then Acharya says about Samyak Snigdha Lakshana, Vatanulomyam Deeptakya Varchas Snigdham Asamhadam Snehodvega Klamas Samyak Snigdhe Rukshe Vipareha Adhisnigdedu Pandutvam Krana Vaktra Gutasravaha. This is about the Samyak Snigdha Lakshana, signs of proper oleation. So the Samyak Snigdha Lakshana include Vatanuloma, that is Anuloma Gati of Vata Dosha. Deeptakni, the digestive fire will be, or the Jadarakni will be increased digestive fire. Snigdha Asamhada Varcha, that is the stool becomes unjust and disintegrated. Means it will be easily passing, it will be evacuated, and practically speaking, you can appreciate the Snehamsha in the stool. In the commode it will be present. Then Sneha Utvekaha, that is aversion towards the Sneha. The patient will be feeling aversion towards the Sneha. Klamaha, that is tiredness. Without any physical activity, the person will be feeling tired day by day after this Snehana. Then not. If proper Snehana doesn't take place, Rukshata will be present, which is characterized by the opposite features of Samyak Snigdha Lakshana. That is also important. So until the Snigdha attains, it should be continued. Otherwise, it is due to the Rukshata, which is characterized by the opposite features of Samyak Snigdha Lakshana, which include this Vata Nilomana doesn't take place, Agni Dipti will not be present, this Varchas, the stool will not be Snigdha and Asamhata, then Snehodveka will not be present, Klama will be absent. This is the features of Rukshata. Then after that he says Atisnigdhedu Pandutvam Krana Vaktra Gudasravaha. If Atisnigdhata, if excessive oleation is taking place, it is characterized by the manifestation of Panditva, that is Pandaroka, and Krana Vaktra Gudasravaha, discharges through the nose, mouth, and anus. And Samyak Yoga and Atiyoga of Rukshana Karma can be understood similar to that of Lankhana Karma. In Lankhana, what all are the Samyak features, or Atiyoga, the same will be applicable for the Rukshana Karma also. With this, we are going to conclude today's session. I would like to remind you, there is no shortcut to success other than hard work, and myself, Dr. Vidyanand Mohan, Assistant Professor, Department of Samhita and Siddhanta, Faculty of Ayurveda, Gokul Global University, Singapore, was there with you for narrating this session. Thank you.